Hi, welcome to Reddit Tea Time. This just happened 2 nights ago, so I'm still reeling emotionally. I know this is long, but there's some important background context and I'm in desperate need of answers. So I'm really hoping that the community can just give me some options on what to do. Almost 6 years ago, I, 29 male, lost my partner suddenly in an accident while he was overseas on a work trip. When I lost him, I cannot describe the pain and the anguish and the emotional hellscape that I found myself in. We planned a life together, and in a fraction of a second, it was all gone. In the aftermath, I completely collapsed as a human. I left my career in healthcare. I couldn't leave my apartment for 3 months. I lost 60 pounds and was already really skinny, and I just shut down. In short, I was a mess in every single way. With the support of some very persistent friends, community resources, and an amazing therapist, I started to process and move forward. Through intense therapy and temporary psychiatric help, I've been able to heal over the years, though grieving isn't a linear process. Fast forward to around 2.5 years ago when I met my current boyfriend, 29 male. It's hard to describe getting into a relationship after losing a soulmate, but please know that he wasn't a rebound and isn't second place or anything like that. I do love him with my whole heart, even though I'll always still love my late partner. My boyfriend has a foundation of similar values, ideal relationship dynamics, communication styles to my late partner, but has a completely different personality, look, lifestyle, appearance, etc. I love him for all of his differences as much as his similarities. My therapist and I knew that it was important for me to not date someone who I would expect to be a stand-in for my late partner. Her and I checked it constantly throughout the major stages of my relationship to ensure that I'm sticking to that. At this point, I've honestly pictured what the rest of my life would look like with him in it, and he said the same. He was also the most understanding boyfriend when I first told him about my late partner's passing and my grieving journey. If there was a textbook way to handle the situation, he could have written the whole thing. I truly could not have asked for a better boyfriend. That was until yesterday. My boyfriend likes to play pranks on me, and he's even filmed some of them to upload online. It's not a constant thing or frequent enough for me to always be on my toes, and I've always said that I'm prone to weird things happening to me, so I'm never the wiser when I'm being pranked. For the sake of anonymity, I won't go into details on previous pranks he's pulled because a few have gotten quite a large number of views, and they're mostly harmless, annoying, etc. As much as I hate being pranked in the moment, he's never gone too far. He's always checked in on me. He gets my permission to post them and all that. I guess I should say that he had never gone too far until yesterday. He texted me in the morning to confirm dinner plans we had that evening, and I replied asking if he needed me to pick up anything on my way home from work. At least twice a month, he cooks us an elaborate dinner. I'm talking coordinated wine pairings, 5 courses, tasting menus, things like that. Like I said, he's a perfect boyfriend. I planned to FaceTime him at lunch like I always do, so no big deal. Well, he didn't answer me at lunch. No big deal, he's probably busy. I sent him a couple of more texts after lunch, just random stuff, but he never responded, and when I finished work, my phone showed he never even read them. I got a little anxious, admittedly, but pushed it aside. I don't need to hear from him constantly, but a sudden break in our routine felt weird because he always tells me in advance when something is going on or if he's busy. Always. He also always forgets something for the dinner he makes and asks me to grab something on the way home. Always. Not today, though. Anyway, I drive to his apartment from work and let myself in with the key he gave me. I expected to hear music, smell dinner, or something, but it was completely silent. I put my stuff down on the hall bench and walked towards the kitchen. I saw grocery bags at the kitchen's entrance, which I thought was weird. As soon as I entered the kitchen, I saw a broken wine glass at the far end of his kitchen island and a few drops of what I thought was red wine until I saw his feet sticking out. I sprinted around the island and he was lying on his side, facing away from me. There was blood everywhere, on the edge of the island, splattered on the wall, and a large pool of blood around his head. I haven't made the sounds that came out of me since I got the call that my late partner passed. My heart was racing so bad that my chest and head hurt. Though I felt like I was in full-blown panic mode, I physically went into autopilot. I work in healthcare again, so I'm glad that my instincts kicked in. He was on his side, so I flipped him flat on his back. From what I gathered, trying to take a medical visual inventory of his injuries, it looked like he was just bleeding from his head. He didn't respond to my voice or a quick sternal rub. He wasn't moving at all, and when I put my ear to his mouth, I wasn't hearing or feeling breathing. He had blood all over his face, so I couldn't tell if his lips were blue or anything like that. I do remember checking for a pulse, and I truly didn't feel one, though in hindsight, I can't be sure if I was mentally stable enough to discern one either way, so I tilted his head back and put my hands over his chest to start CPR while screaming at my phone for Siri to call 911. I only got 2 hard and fast compressions in when he miraculously came back from the dead, screaming bloody murder. After that, I'm not gonna lie, I blacked out a bit. I remember getting lightheaded, my boyfriend shaking me, him apologizing. I remember him calling off 911, and I remember leaving his apartment covered in what I obviously figured out was fake blood. I did get a call from 911 and the police to confirm basically that my boyfriend had played a prank and no one needed help. Otherwise, I felt completely catatonic in a way. I dissociated. Needless to say, since last night I've been a complete mess. I'm angry and I'm devastated. The entire thing keeps playing in my head. While the logical part of my brain knows that he pranked me and that he's alive, my body hasn't figured it out. Worse, this completely brought up everything surrounding my late partner, and I feel like I have to start my grieving process for him all over again. The anger I feel isn't a revenge type of anger, but an exhausted type of anger. The rage is so strong and intense that it's taken every ounce of energy away to act on any of it. I guess that's a good thing. My boyfriend has tried calling me over 40 times. He's sent me too many texts to count. He even came over to try to talk to me that same night, but luckily, even though he has a key, I have a deadbolt chain, so he wasn't able to get in. Basically, he shouted an apology through the crack and begged me to talk to him. My neighbor shooed him off after a while. My friends have also messaged me to ask if I was safe, saying he contacted them and told them everything. I've only texted one of my friends back. I have a therapy appointment tomorrow, but I just need to crowdsource thoughts right now. My boyfriend's sister called me this morning in tears, apologizing on her brother's behalf and told me how sorry he is. She said that if he would have told her about the prank beforehand, she would have chewed him out for even thinking of the idea. Their parents were horrified as well and have said that they're here to support me in whatever way I need. His sister told me that he had come over to her house after I didn't let him into my place and he was having a major anxiety attack with chest pain, racing heartbeat, and trouble breathing. It was so bad that she took him to the ER where they learned that I had fractured a couple of his ribs while attempting to give him what I thought was life-saving CPR, and in the process had also punctured a lung. There are so many emotions going through my head right now. I'm so angry at the world for yet again ripping away a man I love from me because even though he's alive, I don't think that I'll ever be able to get over this. At the same time, I still love and care for him. It's like all I want to do is rush to the hospital to be by his side, while at the same time feel like the sight of him would make me sick. He disgusts me in every way, yet the thought of being without him breaks me in ways I can't explain. What do I do? Is there any possible way for me to heal from this? Do I even consider trying to fix things with him? Do I even want to make this work? Was this entire relationship a facade that he built up to sell a prank? A prank that is so personal and cruel and disgusting? Why would he do something that he knew would destroy me so thoroughly? What did I do to him to make him think that I deserve this? How do I start my grieving process over while also processing this breakup? How can I ever trust anyone ever again? I mean, seriously, what the F do I do? Now for some comments. The toxic black hole that most pranksters fall into. I hear the dopamine rush of mass approval leads a prankster into darker and darker pranks, always to the cheers of broskies and the promise of big money. If he's sure internet fame is his path, it'll be your path too. Think about your future kids. This made me get teary. I'm so sorry. I'm thankful that it sounds like you have a lot of amazing people supporting you. I don't envy your decision, nor do I know what I'd do in your place. Just know you have one more person thinking of you and sending you positive vibes. Edited to add, the more I think, the more I feel like this is a full break of trust and I couldn't go back. How would this even be funny? If I came across a video of this premise, I wouldn't find it funny, and that's without knowing your history. Had he posted that explaining your history? Oh my god, anyone that would find either scenario funny, I would lose any romantic interest in. People make mistakes, but this is a whopper. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry he did something so immature and cruel. My heart broke when I read this. As for what you do, You already started this the correct way by making sure you have a therapy appointment. Start there. Until tomorrow, just take things an hour at a time. Don't make any big decisions until you have someone who knows the situation and past and you trust, i.e. your therapist, to talk about it all. As for the broken ribs and such on your boyfriend, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. There's always broken or cracked ribs after CPR. You're not at fault in any way. This is cruel on his part, and I don't think I'd ever be able to move past something like this. I honestly wonder what his motive was. Was it just a prank, or does he feel he doesn't live up to your late partner and needed reassurance? I feel like it's common sense to not trick people into thinking you're dead. OP replied, "This is honestly the question that I keep coming back to. I know a lot of people would say that it doesn't matter either way, but to me it does, because it's not just about him. I have to know, is he some type of psychopath, or is there a legitimate reason, no matter how twisted or backwards I feel it is, that he felt this was something that would bring us together, reassure him or something, anything. I just have to believe that someone wouldn't string me along like this and pretend to be so perfect just so he could pull this prank. I have to. I don't know if I'd be able to trust anyone ever again if this weren't the case. If I accept that he did it for no other reason than a cruel prank to break me, then that means I really truly do not think that I'll be able to trust anyone ever again." I've been dating my girlfriend for just under a year. Things have been going great, and I feel like we were still getting closer every day until this situation popped up. A few days ago, my girlfriend and I were at a party with friends, and there was a new guy there. He seemed charming and nice, but when the topic of women came up, he said it's been years since he had any luck, and he was going a little crazy. The conversation moved on, and that was the end of that topic. Last night in bed, I was talking with my girlfriend before bed, and we started to discuss the party. The new guy comes up, and we agree he seemed cool, and we were both surprised he was having a hard time with women. I mentioned his comment about it being years since being with anyone, and I said I bet he's going nuts. My girlfriend laughed and said that maybe one of her friends would give him a pity blowjob. I pointed out that at the party he said he loves the movie Amelie, her favorite movie ever. I like it too, so maybe that was worth a blowjob. That probably sounds weird to people reading this, but it was a joking conversation and along the lines of how we make fun of each other. She laughed. Anyway, she said he was cute in a way, but not her type. She wouldn't blow him for $1 million. I thought this was extreme and said if she wouldn't do it for $1 million, I certainly would. Hell, money is money, and it would be just a few minutes probably. I was laughing, but now she wasn't. She stared at me and asked if I was serious. I said yes. That's a life-changing amount of money for something people do every day. She sat up and said that nobody who is straight would do that for any amount of money. She asked if I was gay. I said no. She asked if I would give her brother a blowjob for $1 million, and I said probably. She got angry and went to sleep. I thought that was the end of it, but this morning, she told me she didn't want me to be at her place today and she needed time to think. She said she saw a future with me, but is worried that I would eventually leave her for a man after years of lying to myself. I tried to convince her that my response was normal, but she wasn't having it. I texted my friend and asked if he would give me a blowjob for $1 million. He replied, only if I don't have to give you any money. My girlfriend said he's probably gay too, and it makes sense that you hang out with him. So now I'm home and maybe girlfriendless. So once and for all, is it gay to give a blowjob for $1 million? Edit. Not that it really matters, but I do think the guy is super cute, and I probably would do it for free too. But that didn't come up when we talked. Now for some comments. Ask her if she would blow him for 10 million, 100 million, a billion. No to $1 billion, and she's lying. So we're only haggling over price. Edit. As someone pointed out, to make it truly apples to apples, ask her if she'd go down on another woman for the money. Then you can break up with her for lying. You can paint 1,000 houses and never be called a painter. You give one blowjob and people will call you names for life. My husband is self-employed with unpredictable income for us. I work a very stressful job I would love to quit. If he was offered $1 million to give a blowjob, I would tell him to take the offer immediately. This is equivalent to a girl getting mad because you said you wouldn't love her if she was whatever. This was a made-up scenario that she's taking seriously. You didn't do anything wrong, and if anything, just showed how comfortable you are with your sexuality and yourself. She's clearly insecure, and whether that's from homophobia, reading too many stories of that happening, or some past trauma, bottom line, this is her problem. I mean, the fact that she called your friend gay too, she has some major insecurities and is trying to manipulate the situation to be an issue with you. Are straight actors who play gay characters secretly gay? She's also in for a rude awakening once she learns that most gay porn stars are actually straight with wives and girlfriends. You can try talking with her to see what the core issue is, but don't be manipulated into thinking you did something wrong when the issue is with her. If she's not willing to see that and talk, unfortunately you might have to cut your losses. I cheer my husband on for that. There are a lot of things I wouldn't do for money, but one blowjob for an entire million? Yeah, that's fine. I think she's being ridiculous. I'm straight as can be, and I'd get my tongue swirl on for a lot less than $1 million. I got mouths to feed. If I gotta feed my own mouth in order to elevate my family out of poverty, then it's time to unhinge my jaw and get bajing. Background info. I, 23 female, have been planning a trip to San Francisco for around a year at this point and had booked my tickets a year in advance. Around about a month or two before the trip, the airline called me saying they'd like to upgrade me to first class due to my points and being a member. I had never flown first class before, so to say I was so excited was an understatement. I made sure to do everything possible in the lounge before my flight, and I was welcomed with such a comfortable setting for the 13-hour flight. About an hour into the flight, a flight attendant comes up to me and asks me if I'd be willing to swap seats with a 10-year-old boy who was in economy so he could sit with his family in first class. From what I was told, the two parents were both members and had also received upgrades also, not realizing that their son wasn't able to be upgraded with them. So they got their first class tickets, but he was stuck back at economy. The flight attendant began giving me some options, as if I had no choice but to move, and she was saying things like I'd get another free upgrade in another flight, or I could get a full refund for the flight. I asked her if there was any chance I could stay in my seat because I genuinely thought I was being kicked out, and she said that the two parents and I were the only upgraded passengers on the flight and there was no other first class seats available, so if there was to be any chance for the boy to sit with his family, it would only make sense for him to sit in my seat. If this was a different situation, such as they had overbooked the first class and the boy had purchased a ticket, it would be a different story, but I got this upgrade because of how much I fly on the airline. Also, I may have considered it if the parents had bought their tickets, but they hadn't either. No hate for the flight attendant, she was very polite and respectful during the entire ordeal. She accepted my decision and was very nice and said that everything was okay and they were going to figure it out. Never saw the parents, they were sitting far away from me. I did get shamed by an old woman in the seat next to me who told me that I made a child sit on their own for 13 hours. I get a 13-hour flight alone for a child is the scary part, but I saw him walk up and down the aisles like every hour to meet his parents, so it wasn't like he was alone. So am I the bonehead? Because supposedly this is what a bonehead would do. Now for some comments. So, not his parents who accepted an upgrade and ditched their kid in economy. It's the random stranger who is at fault for making the kid fly alone. Give me a break, not the bonehead. I'm sure two people in economy would have been glad to swap with the parents. No, the parents never should have accepted seats away from their kid to begin with, especially not both of them. If they were so concerned, they would have gone back to coach and given up their seats to two other people. Not the bonehead. They could have moved out of their first class to be with their son. You stayed and did the right thing. The old lady who shamed you, she could have moved if she cared so much. One of the parents could have gone into economy to join the kid. Why did one of them even leave the kid in economy alone to begin with? What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. If you like these stories, please consider subscribing. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next Reddit story. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. Bye for now.